What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about what if today. If token, a meme coin on the Robinhood chain, one of the first meme coins on Robinhood chain, and it's been in the top 100 on Dex Screener for quite some time. This is the second or third video I've made on this. It's been a little while. I don't know if the last video was here or here. I forget what it was. I think it was here. It was after this drop. We were talking about going to a $7 million market cap, something like that, as a possibility. But I remember we were talking about the first test. I think this was it. That was the last time I made a video. So I might have only made one video. But here you are in the midst of a second test. I'm going to give you price predictions. I'm going to tell you what I think about this project and all that stuff. I've been following this coin since Archie, Crypto Archie, shout out to Archie, first brought it up. I never put money into it myself. I didn't really believe that it would come up here. I was like, what if it goes to zero? Everyone's saying, what if it goes to $1 billion or $100 million? I'm like, what if it goes? What if it doesn't? That was my thoughts, and well, that was proven wrong. And you guys pumped. You went above $1 million, and then you had your first correction. I just remember here I was saying this is your first test. If you come back, you'll probably go to $7 million or higher, and you did. But that first test really matters, and you prevailed. You prevailed. Volume has continued to come in. You definitely had a lot of volume on the downside here. This was a massive sell-off in itself, but we go through this in meme coins, and this is really where this was your first test, but this is a pretty big test in itself. TBB, you guys know if you've been following my channel, TBB is a coin that I love. It's kind of like my if to Archie's. My TBB is Archie's if, right? We both got in these things very, very early, kind of around the same time, which is cool. And I have an idea with this, by the way, between communities, some good fun. I've joked about it on X, but I'm going to make it official here in this YouTube channel. Just hold on. This YouTube video. 90% drop for TBB, 88% drop for What If. We've both seen massive corrections lately. It's kind of crazy. A lot of volume came in on these low points, which to me suggests buying pressure. On the 4-hour time frame here, you've got a lot of volume here, pretty big wick. A lot of volume there at that low point where you stopped. A lot of volume there. I mean, again, same kind of idea. It's kind of interesting how this is happening in culmination together. Me and Archie have not the exact same community. I'm aware he's got more followers on, I think he's got more followers than me on X, but I know he's got more followers on YouTube. So, he's got a little bit larger of a community, but I know that our communities overlap each other a little bit. So I wonder if, I don't know. I wonder if there's some overlap in that community and that psychology, and that's why we see similar drops around the same time. I mean, this thing literally dropped on the 2nd of August. That's whenever it started to drop. TBB started to drop basically on the 30th of July, very, very near. Anyways, getting to my idea, a little fun thing for the communities. We're at $19 million in TBB. You're at $13 million, a little bit of a deficit in What If. I say we have a race. To $100 million. The first coin to $100 million wins. I don't know. Maybe both the communities could come together and we could do some type of prize. I don't know. We could like winner or loser has to buy $10 worth of their tokens. Like, it just encourage the community to buy $10. I don't know, right? If gets to $100 million before TBB people got to buy $10 worth of if a piece. I don't know. And obviously it would be kind of like a non-obligatory kind of thing, but just for fun, if you want to. I don't know. You could buy $10 of it right now. I don't know. But I'm not trying to talk too much about TBB on the What If video, but you guys know that I love TBB. It's cool seeing both of these coins. What I really love is that again, Archie called this one super early. So a lot of people in his community, my community, proximity, communities in proximity, were exposed to this early and have had an opportunity to get in. And that was right around the same time where we got in very early to TBB as well. So it's cool seeing both these communities, us as a whole, seeing some incredible growth here in the meme coin markets. And I do believe both these coins have more to go. I believe if here, again, you are at a critical moment. You are at a test, probably the biggest test of your life. And this is where you're made or broke. This is where the boys become men and the girls become ladies. This is where the weak hands get shaken out and the strong hands hopefully step in. It seems like there are some strong hands stepping in. I'm paying attention to other accounts, large accounts who have gotten in on this drop, which is nice to see. And it is largely community driven. There's no hidden cabal of influencers that are pumping this artificially to dump on their community, at least so it seems. There's, I don't know too much about this coin and the protocol, the software. It is a new chain with Robinhood. I don't know how secure it is as far as the software point of view goes, but I've had people tell me they're able to buy and sell and get their money back. So that's really all that matters. So if you can buy and sell a coin, that's good. It's not a honeypot or anything like that. There was a time that I was a little bit concerned for the safety of this thing, but I think it's proven itself, and I don't know those concerns. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a software guy, so I think it's just a new chain. There's some unknowns, and what I'm trying to say there is don't bet the farm. You never know, right? You never know if some kind of flaw can happen. Same thing with TBB. You never know if some kind of flaw can happen. You don't want to bet the farm. It's a meme coin. You want to have fun with it. Bet money that you're okay with risking. Okay. You could put $1,000 in here and it turns into 10,000. It turns into 100,000. A 10x or 100x from here is absolutely possible with this kind of market cap. So is a massive drop. So is instead of 100x maybe just a 5x or a 10x or something like that. But let's talk about the TA. Let's do some more of this. I feel like I'm talking too much and not saying anything. Relative strength index, getting the RSI on here. Looking at this on the 1 hour time frame. Again, a lot of volume here at these low points. That to me does suggest dollar cost averaging, strategic buying happening, which is nice to see. A little bit of volume here growing. I know it's not as big as these spikes, but if you took these spikes out of the equation, that volume there is actually pretty massive in comparison to what you've seen in your history. So volume's growing a little bit here, right? You can see it's sloping down and then growing right there. As you're moving up, that's positive. Volume's died off here, and that's fine. You're kind of consolidating, moving sideways. What you want to see is one of two things, okay? First and foremost, I know that a lot of you what if people want to see highs. You want to break out, move higher, however it works, however you move up there, you want to move higher. That's great, and that's fine. That's one thing that you want to see to prove that this was not a one-off, but just not something that's going to hold the price back and kill this thing off, right? The second thing that you want to see, if this doesn't happen, if you don't move up from here, if none of these paths take you higher, and instead you move down, what you want to see is a higher low. You want to see a higher low. Getting a lower low in itself does not condemn this thing to death. It just would not look good. It would not be good for morale, and you don't want to see that, right? Same thing with TBB. We want higher lows. We don't want lower lows. I say the same thing for TBB. Just being blunt here, right? You are at a critical moment, and right now, if I had to guess, I think you look pretty good. I think you look pretty good. We look at the fibs from a high to a low. You are consolidating. You're consolidating very similarly here to how TBB was consolidating, just right below the golden ratio. Typically, you come up here, you reject, and you move down. But you found resistance here once, twice, 3 times. You're just kind of crowding this area. Makes me think that you want to move up. So I feel like I'm looking at the same chart. You want to probably go to the 786, 886 next, and that is anything from a 2.4 cent price to about a 3 cent price, somewhere in there. That's your next target area. I don't know if I'd call this a bull flag. It doesn't. I get it. It kind of maybe it's. Bull flags can have upward sloping flags. Typically, they don't. But maybe you have a upward sloping flag. I don't know. And in which case, if it was, I don't think it is. I don't know if it's appropriate to call it one. But if we were to measure just this kind of idea, from the bottom of the flag, that would take you a little bit higher. 3.5 cents, right in that target area. I still think that it would be fun, man. I think it'd be fun to have a little race. It can be all in good fun. You can be a little bit of like nana boo boo in your face stuff, but at the same time, it's all in good fun. I think both these coins will get to $100 billion market cap, but we should definitely have a race between the what if and the TBB community. My money's on TBB. Obviously, I'm biased there. I'm sure the what if people have their money on if. If did flip TBB at some point. It was for a little bit there in the midst of this drop. If was at a higher market cap than TBB. Significantly higher market cap. But again, this volatility, it affects us both ways. So it would be pretty cool, I think, to see how far both of these projects come over the coming days and weeks. And I am bullish on if. I think that it'll move up. Looking at the RSI here, you're very, very overbought, very bullish, super bullish. And even with this drop, you had a hard time getting oversold. You bounced right off the oversold zone. You're moving up. You're above the 50 now. Here you are, lower lows in the RSI with higher lows in the price. That's hidden bullish divergence. and you're right at the 50, perfect area to bounce. You have bounced in this area both as a form of resistance and support plenty of times, 4 hour time frame, we look at this, you are finding a little bit of resistance at the 50. It's, I might be more worried about it if you had gotten oversold. The fact that you've been overbought and you didn't get oversold, you didn't even actually touch the oversold zone, I think you're okay. I want to say you're okay. It's okay to find turbulence here, and you want to get above there. You want to try to get overbought. You don't want to get oversold. You want to get overbought. It's okay to move down from here. It's okay to retrace. If goes back to 0087, maybe I'll buy some there because that is prior support, prior resistance. It's perfect. It kind of looks like a golden ratio retracement itself, low to high. Okay, 0.5, a little bit lower. You have the golden ratio. You've got a lot of room to work with. Nobody wants to look at the if chart here at 1.4 cents and think, man, it could drop 50%. But if it does, again, you're at a really strong point of support there. You're at the golden ratio. You're at a higher low. I've been saying the same thing for TBB. Nobody wants to see the price go down, but honestly, consolidating, taking your time instead of just coming back up like this, it's moving up in such a short amount of time that causes these massive drops. So if you're dilly-dallying, if you're taking your time forming some structure before you really get going, that's better. That's better for the inevitable drop that will happen, because every time you move up, there will be moves down. People take profits, people panic, all this stuff. So, all I'm trying to say there is, if you do move down, you've got a lot of wiggle room to where I think you still look good. I wouldn't want to see this thing below $0.0069, but you could go. Not that does not mean I'm calling for this price. I'm just saying you could go down there and still be okay. Maybe you don't even go down at all. Maybe you just move up from here. If I had to guess, looking at the 1 hour time frame, again using this RSI, I would think you look like you want to move up from here right now. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, I would think that you want to come down. It's a little bit conflicting. It's hard to say. But coming down, again, how much do you come down? You don't have to go to the golden ratio. You could find support right there at 1 cent, right here at the 236 at 1.3 cent. It's hard to say. Maybe you look like you're finding resistance now, but then 3 hours, 18 minutes from now, when this 4 hour candle closes, you're green and you're busting through the 50. That's really bullish. It's hard to say. There's time for this to develop, and it is a critical moment. This is a defining moment for if, for sure, because if you see a lower low here, I would think the odds of you seeing new all-time highs diminish for sure. But if you see, it doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just diminishes. It means you're probably going to go lower, reestablish yourself. It's going to take more time if you have a chance. But if you find a higher low, or if you just continue to build from here and return to these highs, your chances of seeing new all-time highs greatly improves. And I'm personally taking that new all-time high approach myself. We're going to get to those targets in just a second. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of smoke in the air where I'm at, and I don't do well with that. Looking at this here, you've got lower lows in the RSI on the 12 hour. You also have higher lows in the price as well. A lot of volume here, big wicks at the bottom, and you're moving up. Love to see it. Looks great. We look at this here from an overall high to a low, which I don't think I've done yet. Oh, no, yeah, I have. You're consolidating around the golden ratio. If and when it's time to see new all-time highs, your primary target zone is 6.8 cents to 14 cents. So that's a $68 million market cap to $140 million market cap. That's your primary target zone. Let's go through and get to know you. I'm more familiar with TBB, but I'm not as familiar with if. So let's get to know you and see what you like to do with your Fibonacci extensions from a high to a low. It's not always like this, by the way. Past performance does not guarantee future results, but from low to high here, you found resistance at the 2272, found support at the 1414. Okay. 2272, 1414. High to low here, you found resistance at the 1886200, found support all the way down at the 100 or at the 1272, however you want to look for it. That 1414 actually did hold support again. Not as significant, but still, you did hold support there. High to low here, you went up to the 1886200 level. So it seems as though your extensions, you're seeing lesser and lesser. That trend doesn't have to continue, but let's assume it does. Okay, right? The first time you got all the way up to your 2272. The next time you got here. This last time you just missed that zone. So it is de-escalating. It's diminishing from a high to a low. Assuming you diminish, then the golden ratio might be a completely appropriate target. And that is over $100 million. It's a 140, almost $145 million market cap. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it doesn't work like that for if, because some of the tokens are burned. You would probably be closer to like 135 million, something like that, right? Because you're not at 14 million here. You're at 13 million, right? It's a little bit less because some of those tokens are burned. Yeah, there's like 9% of the supply is burned, or 8.5%. Um, if you're looking on Block Scout and you see the top wallet, it's a null, it's a burnt, lost wallet. It's not, it doesn't exist. Um, Anyways, that would be your technical next target if you were to see new all-time highs. I mean, I guess technically your next target is 2.3 cents to 3 cents, right? Somewhere in here, somewhere in that area, that's your next technical target. But if we were to see new all-time highs, this is kind of the area that I would expect. And maybe you get there, maybe you don't. Maybe you see 6.8 cents. This is the primary target zone, 1618 to the 1272, and that's a totally appropriate area to gauge, to assume that you interact with, I think, if you were to see new all-time highs. But also, you have had no problem busting through the zone and going to this kind of secondary zone as well. So it is acceptable to consider these multi-$100 million market caps as well. Now, are you just going to move up there in a straight line? Probably not. But these are the kind of dynamics that are at play before you would really anticipate seeing another massive correction, right? Like this, like this, like this. This is kind of that target realm. And it's a very broad realm. If I had to guess, if I had to be specific, it's this lower circle here. But technically, just based off of history, 60 cents to 6.9 cents, let's say, that is a appropriate target range. And more specifically, I think this 14.5 to 6.9 cent range is probably the more likely one. It's not because it's easier to hit. It's just because of how we've seen it interact with its fibs. But everybody does fibs differently. There's all kinds of different fibs. You can use fib channels, trend-based fibs, fib retracements, time, fib resistance fans, whatever. Okay, fibs are different. You can, whenever you put your fibs on from a high to a low, it can be in log. It can be not in log. It can be in linear. So if you're looking at this and you're not getting the same results that I'm getting, you probably have different fibs, and that's fine. Go through and use those different fibs and see if you can find any similarities in your own analysis and point out other targets or maybe even similar targets, right? You can people wonder, they're like, "Oh, is that the way to do it? Should I be in log?" It's like, "No, you can be in linear. You could be in log, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could have a cross of both. Whatever makes the most sense to you, that's really, I think, what matters. Like here, out of log, we're at the 382, which is a completely sensible area to find resistance. Here in log, you are literally at the golden ratio, which is also a completely sensible area to find resistance. So beyond all those things, beyond the fibs, you've got resistance right here at prior support. You are finding resistance here, but you're not straight rejecting, which I like to see. Volume is depleting, means you're about to break out soon. Again, I don't know if you're just going to break out and send it to new all-time highs. This thing can get crazy. It definitely can. But you're fresh off this bounce. I would say be patient. Hold. Have an exit strategy if it comes to that. Have a buy the dip strategy if it comes to that as well. But I think that I really do think that you have some immense growth coming your way. And from the current price, going to a 6.9 cent price, that's about a 4.5x to 14 cents. It's about a 9x, almost a 10x move there. Yeah. So immense gains, very immense gains. And if you see more, if the time comes, what if you go to $1? What if you see $1 billion in market cap or more? You've got tremendous potential there as well. Anyways, the race is on. Let me know what you guys think. Should we do some type of thing where the quote unquote the loser has to buy, and again, it's not obligatory. It's like if you just want to do it for fun, like add a little bit of like a congratulations. Like it's like saying congratulations to the other community. So I'll buy $5 worth, $10 worth. Should there be something else? Is there something that's better or more fun, more engaging than just money? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be probably better than worse to bring the tribes together instead of keeping them separate. So hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.